The family is one of the very basic building blocks and units that God made for blessing our society. He made the first man and woman and put them together in a family, and they had children who had dysfunction in the first generation. And so God's been trying to redeem broken families from the first people. I run into a lot of people who want to do the best they can for themselves and for their kids, but for a lot of reasons aren't doing a great job, and they would even admit it. I've been in homes where kids are mistreated. I've held drug babies before in the hospital, and the mom knows they're going to have to get the baby up. And no one wants to be there. But where we find ourselves is families that are not coping well. The beauty of a program like Safe Families is, here's a great way we know you can help this family. Because everyone that I know of wants to help people at some level. So Safe Families offers so many different ways to do that within a system that we really think is tried and true nationwide that can really help families.
We were designed from the very beginning for intimacy. You can see it right in the beginning in Genesis. God created man and woman. The purpose was them to know and be known. The whole design of God's church is to help people to enter into community. When we started our church 4 years ago, we found Safe Families right away as one of the most critical ministries because they had a vision that was to do such an excellent job in ministering to families in crisis. We've been able to see through Safe Families connecting with our church congregation, there's this connection that happens where someone thought that they had to go through a family crisis without any help. And through Safe Families, we're seeing this blending, this network, this connecting of people with no connections to people with connections in a body of Christ, of faith-driven people. And it's a tremendous, tremendous ministry.
In my mind, Safe Families provides a link between a family that's struggling a little bit, needing some skills and services, and the extreme of, we have a child welfare case where a child needs to be taken out of the home because it's not a safe situation for that kid. What we want to do is get upstream from those emergent problems and help teach better skills, help provide mentoring. If I could see out several years from now, I'd be so pleased if the number of referrals to DHS went down, if the number of kids in foster care went down dramatically, because there was no more need for that.
So there was a lady in our church just recently who came as a result of Safe Families. And as a single mom, going through drug rehabilitation. And we surrounded her with the necessary safe families and connections that she needed to not only help her, but her son to walk through that situation. And the entire thing that made a difference was providing those connections.
Oftentimes, what I've found when I'm working in the community is that people don't feel comfortable walking into a church. And so I had a mom I met with, and she said, I've really been thinking about going to church, but she hasn't been able to step back in. And so the church was able to come to her, right? The church was able to come and deliver a bed to her and to show that love to her. And what I found is that parents, when they receive this sort of support, when people are willing to step outside the four walls, is they're more open to learning more about God.
If you have a heart for seeing change in your community, if you're disheartened by families that are torn apart by crime and violence and generational poverty, I think Safe Families is a great thing to investigate. The best thing to do is to find someone at your church who has a heart for their community, has a heart for hurting families, and let them be the champion. Ephesians 4 says that we are to build up the body so they can do the work of ministry. Too many of us try to do it all ourselves.
They're not planning on the pastor creating another ministry that he has to, all by himself, take on. Instead, what they rather do is urge the pastor to develop a liaison team leader, they call them. That team leader's job would be to mobilize just one or two people in the church, and their jobs would simply be to go over and be trained by FARA and safe families.
Maybe they're the family coach, or maybe they're the family support, maybe they're the actual host family, maybe they are the financial support. You know, superheroes come in all shapes and sizes. But either way, they know each other. They are aware that they're helping families together.
What better way to bring help to hurting families than to bring the people of God with the love of Christ to the table and say, we're going to bring a whole lot of different resources to help, and we'll do it in the name of Christ. We're teaching people and helping them and modeling better skills, better ways to make decisions. We can never know the impact that might come to someone's life when everything else seems to be flying off the rails, that we can provide an alternative example. And that impacts not just their life now, but generations to come.
Who's the next family that we can impact? That one person that we don't even know, that's outside the church. They're not a person maybe of a religious background, or maybe they were and they walked away from God a long time ago. They literally are waiting to be impacted by someone who loves Jesus. Who's the next one? I mean, who's the next person that we can impact with the love of Jesus?